Kiki, and welcome back to Black in the Days. I'm hanging out with you from myblacklemonade.com, and I am so excited to be talking to a Chicago girl today who is a musician shutting it down all around the city. So I'm going to bring in my special guest, Miss Wendy Indy.
Hi, Kiki. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I'm so happy that you took out a little time out your busy day to hang with us. But how are you? How's it been going?
Life is going good. I feel extremely blessed, and I'm just so happy to share the vibes.
Absolutely. Like, I'm excited to get you on Black in the Days because you have such a unique talent that not many people possess in the city of Chicago. You are a trained violinist. Am I right?
Yes, been playing the violin now for 17 years.
Oh my God. Please take us back to how you got started with this awesome, talent that you got. How did you get in the violin game?
Thank you. Well, started in Chicago. I had got transferred out of my school. I went on the west side of Chicago. I transferred into a charter school, and they were just implementing so many different things in the curriculum. And one of them was learning how to play a string instrument. So it was up to that moment in my life. I didn't really have no talents. I really didn't have no hobbies. So when it was introduced to me, I kind of just took it and ran with it and played through high school, college, and still now.
I mean, you make it sound so easy, but me being a former orchestra kid, I know how complicated it is to play the violin. I actually picked it up one time, like in sixth grade, right? And they told me to pick an instrument, and I picked the violin. But I realized I could not read music, and I wasn't going to try to learn how to read music, so it just didn't go very far. But tell us about the process from you picking up the violin to becoming like what you are now. Take us on that journey with you. What are some things that you had to go through?
That's so crazy because it's the same thing. I learned how to play the violin in sixth grade. I had to pick an instrument. It was either that or the cello. And when I picked the violin, honestly, I went home and I learned the song for the next day. So every time I came back to school, I was like, oh, I already know that song. But it was my way of showing off,
Yes.
not knowing that it could actually turn into a career. I wasn't thinking like that at 11 years old.
Yes.
So what happened was once I started playing more and once I started meeting different musicians, I started seeing the opportunities and I was like, I can go do that too. So I started becoming more like into the trends. I love hip hop naturally. I listen to WGCI. I grew up listening to that. Actually, I used to pluck in my car when my mom used to drive us to the suburbs because sometimes we would go to Maxon over the weekend growing up. I used to be so bored because we'd be through rush hour, it'd be an hour trip. And I would take out my violin and I would just pluck to WGCI the entire time. And that's how I taught myself how to play by ear.
Oh my God. See, that's what I'm talking. It's a true passion project once you pick it up. And it's stuck with you. Of course, I run my mouth on the radio now for a career, but to see that, you were inspired all the way back then by hip hop and playing, and still took that and played your instrument. Let's talk about some of your musical influences. So hip hop being one, what else?
What started getting me was jazz as well, because jazz is like the counteract to classical. Where classical, you gotta learn this complicated, difficult music, Jazz is like have fun, free form, chill it. So that's what started opening me up to more so freestyling because I was stuck in that classical box. So once I started like listening to jazz artists like Esperanza Spalding, and I actually started listening to other artists like Black Violin, who are two young Black men who play the violin and also rap. I was starting to see the opportunities more because I had no idea. Like it's still sometimes bewildering to me that I am able to make a living off of this, but I started seeing the opportunities and I was like, it doesn't look like that's completely out of my journey, so why not?
Now, I mean, with being in an orchestra or playing the violin, we know that can be very expensive, especially when you're young. You don't have a job. You're not making money. Let's talk about your support team. Who are some of the people who have supported you along this journey?
Thank you. So my mom for sure, because my mom was the one who constantly made it seem like it was a priority when I didn't know. And then I went to Lane Tech High School.
Okay.
And I joined the orchestra. So I did that all 4 years. I ended up being first chair of the second violins. And I was like, and I started like being more like passionate and more involved. And that involvement actually made it more serious for me because up to then I didn't look at that as something that was that important. It wasn't until, like I mentioned, like started being hired, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to work a 9 to 5. I can do this.
Right.
So
I can use my gifts and my talents. And that's ultimately the life that we all want to, live, is to use our gifts and talents. Now, are there any teachers that you met along the journey, or any orchestra leaders, band masters? I don't know the correct term, but anybody that you want to shout out that you met and worked with along this way?
you know what? And when you first asked that, I was like, oh my God, because one of my violin teachers, he's not here no longer. He passed away last year, but
Oh,
his
wow.
name is Robert Fisher. And
Mm.
I sought after him because he was a violin instructor for at Lane Tech. But
Mm.
he didn't work for the school. He actually played in Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Oh,
And they had a partnership with the school where they would send members there to teach private lessons. So I had a private lesson with a completely other person, and
mhm.
I saw this black man kept walking in and out of the orchestra rooms. And I'm like, it wasn't that many black people in orchestra for first. So
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me, who is this? So I found out who he is, and they're like, he's kind of mean and he can be real strict. And I'm like, I don't care. He looks like me.
Right.
So I saw after him and I took private lessons from him for about 3 years. And I took it every once a week during my lunch period.
Oh,
And
wow.
honestly,
Okay.
he helped sharpen my tool because
Yeah.
up to then I knew how to play, but I didn't know how to play.
Mm,
So
mm.
he sharpened my tool, and it's so funny because I would reach out to him before he passed, and I would always like say like, "Oh, you proud of me? And you happy what I'm doing?" And even though it wasn't exactly classical what I was doing, he was like, "You're making it work."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the energy he gave me. So yes, that was my main influence.
Yeah, see, people never know how they inspire somebody, or how just you following your dream or being obedient to God will bless other people. So he was just coming there to do his duty as a part of the orchestra, and he didn't know that he was inspiring a little brown girl like you. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story about him. Now your gift has taken you some really really dope places. I mean, all across the television. You've been on Empire. You performed for ABC. Like, what has been one of your favorite moments, favorite events, that you've been able to play?
Honestly, it has to be Lupe Fiasco. I had played for his Red Bull Food and Liquor. I think that was like 2018.
Okay.
And I remember introducing myself to him and I was like, my name's Wendy India. I'm from the West Side like you. And he was like, because I wanted to stand out so badly.
Yeah.
So on stage at the end of the concert, he went around and introduced every band member to the audience. But when he said my name, he said first and last Wendy Indy. And that struck me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, that's how I introduced myself, and that's how he introduced me. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. It was a big takeaway because everyone was screaming, Red
Yeah.
Bull. It was just a crazy night. So I really appreciated that. I
Uh,
also just recently did Juice World show. That was at the United Center.
okay.
Yes,
Awesome.
and that was really beautiful. Also to be among so many other black and brown violinists and
Mhm.
instrumentalists also really helped motivated me to be like, okay, well we out here.
Yes. I mean, that's huge to be on that United Center stage. I think, us being little girls from Chicago, we know how legendary that is. And for you to be able to perform there, that's super dope. You have just been taking this to another level, but I always like to ask my musician friends this. Who is one artist, dead or alive, if you could collaborate with them, who would it be?
Mm. Woo! You know what? It's so funny because the music I play is different from the music I listen to.
Okay.
Two
Okay.
different worlds. I'll
Yeah.
listen to some maybe hardcore rap, but I'm not
Mhm.
necessarily going to play it. But
Okay.
I really am a fan of the baby.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I'm a big
Mhm.
fan of the baby, and I don't know if he's into violinists, but like I've been listening to him like hardcore for 2 years, and I've been telling myself like if he just need an instrumentalist on his label,
Yeah.
$1 million productions, if he just need an instrumentalist on his label, I would be there in a flash.
Come on, put it out there in the atmosphere, okay? Now we can make it happen. The baby, when you see this, call my girl. But you seem so. You are so confident. Have you ever gotten nervous while performing? Because The violin is not like getting up and me hosting a show or getting up and telling jokes, or that is a very intricate tool to know how to use. Is there ever a time when you're nervous or like scared?
I guess the times when I'm nervous is when I forget to acknowledge God, honestly, because
Yes.
I'm not doing it by myself.
Come on. Yes.
Sometimes I pick up my instrument and I surprise myself, and then I remember who gave me the gift, and I'm like, okay, I shouldn't even be that shocked.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
times I get nervous is when I forget to acknowledge God because I act like, sometimes our ego and pride get in the way. So
Absolutely.
when that happens, I see myself trembling. I'm like, why
Mhm.
am I feeling like this?
Mm. See, that's why we got to put God first in all we do. A quick prayer before you perform, talking to Him,
Mhm.
checking in. That'll get you right through it. So that's a really good point. I'm glad that you shared that, because a lot of people don't even realize that that's why they're so nervous, because they haven't acknowledged God. So that's really dope. So you have your own music. You have singles that are coming out. You have the single that's already out. How did
Yes,
you get
ma'am.
started writing your own music?
So it kind of started with me listening to artists like Esperanza Spalding and Black Violin because they're not only putting out lyrical songs, they're putting out songs too, instrumentals.
Mhm.
And that's something I got comfortable with since I play instrument, that I put out a song that doesn't necessarily have a lyrics to it.
Right.
However, the song I have out, which is called Takes Time, I do have lyrics. I'm rapping on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
actually the chorus goes like, "I'm gonna play my violin on top of this. Hey, oh, hey, oh." Okay.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
Thank you.
So, tell us about the single that's coming out.
Yeah, so Takes Time. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's
Okay.
on all your you know,
Platforms.
exactly, on all platforms, big hashtags. And I
Okay.
definitely want everyone to check it out because it was my first baby project. And I have more music, but
Hmm.
I've been more like into my business managing, like business mode, like, okay, gotta copyright it, gotta get it mastered,
Hmm.
gotta promote it. So I put out one song to kind of show the world what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
And now I'm like kind of like in like hibernation mode. Like
Yeah.
I just moved actually, and I'm building my home studio once more, and I have all the equipment, but I'm like, all right, time to do it. Content, content, content.
Yeah.
So I'm so appreciative of being on this platform, and I'm so grateful to be able to share my story because I know as much as I was motivated and inspired by other people, I know someone
Hmm.
listen to this and know it's time.
Yes, yes. So many people are going to watch this interview, and just knowing from the west side of Chicago, you picking that up in school and where it has taken you. I mean, that's definitely an inspiration in itself. So, what's one big dream goal for you? What do you want in 5 years? Like, what are we going to see with Wendy
Yeah.
Indy? Tell us about that.
Thank you for asking. I want a storefront.
Okay, and what you
Yes.
gonna do in there?
Yeah, so I wanted like an events venue. I
Okay,
wanted I wanted to be more of a rental place, but also I wanted to utilize it to host private lessons inside this space as well. Because I
got it.
also teach violin as well. So
Okay,
5-year plan, storefront is gonna be Wendy Indie Studios. You're gonna walk in, you can grab a sandwich, grab a coffee, and then it may be like an open mic, or it may just be like an open space.
mm,
But I know for sure I want something that kind of builds the community where people can harbor at, because a lot of people
hmm,
outside kind of want places to go. So I
yeah,
kind of want that to be like a one-stop safe haven that people can stop in.
yeah. How do you enjoy teaching? Because I know that's a whole nother, beast in itself when you're
Yeah.
teaching somebody the craft. How do you do with that?
You know what's funny? A lot of people don't notice this, but it's individual time that actually you learn the most.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I try to tell that a lot of to the families I work with. I'm like,
hmm,
I meet with you once a week, but it's the time off you put in is what's gonna sell you. And that's what
yeah,
happened when I first started playing the violin. I
mm,
wasn't waiting for the teacher to be like, all right, now class, let's go to the other line in the song. I was already going to the next line. And that's
right,
what I try to instill in some of my students. I also learn over time, it's best to also give them incentives on performances because
hmm,
you learn this song for 3 months and no one heard it, you know?
right,
So I've been trying to push more of my students like record your videos.
hmm,
Let's host a Zoom meeting where your family and friends join and they see the songs that you've been working on. So pushing the more of the musicians and the students to perform, I think is the biggest takeaway
yeah,
because even though it does have a lot of enrichment as far as like learning more about self-confidence and learning more violin skills, it's the community impact that also really blossoms the student.
Yes, yes. I mean, when you speak about having your storefront, I just see like lots of kids being able to go there as a safe haven and pick up a new skill and pick up and learn music. So definitely what you're doing is in that lane. And I love to see that you're giving back to your community. That's awesome. Like that's super important.
Thank
Um,
you.
I want to ask you this. If you could perform anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I want to go to the Caribbean so bad.
Ooh,
I
yes.
want to just go down because they're just so free and flowing. And there's a lot of violinists from the Caribbean who gets booked all over the state. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to go down there. I'm like, okay, I know you guys been making some beats. Let me come down here and see what's going on.
Yes, yes, I love it. Now, I always got to get into my fun facts, my fun questions where I just want to get to know you. So, I got to ask you this. What is your favorite Chicago themed snack?
Oh my God, I love some hot fries. Andy's.
There you go. That say no more. Hot fries, yes, honey.
Yes, I had 3 this week alone.
Oh my God.
It's an addiction.
Yes. Okay. What is your guilty pleasure?
Reality TV. I just watched The Bachelor last night. It was so good.
Oh my God, we are so much alike because reality TV is definitely my go-to. What are your favorite places to hang out when you're not practicing your violin skills?
Well, considering the times, I haven't been out as much, but
Hmm.
I would like to say I kind of spend a lot of times at restaurants. I love to eat.
Okay.
So it's a great pastime. Like, okay, I haven't tried this spot out, and inviting friends and going out.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Now, if you could pick, your favorite shoe designer, who would that be?
Ooh. I have some Jessica, I think Jessica Simpson heels,
She's
and
so good. Oh my God.
they're
Yes.
the most comfortable. Like I can wear them for like 3 hours, and my feet are good. So I give those a thumbs up.
Yes, I love a good Jessica Simpson heel, and her little bags are cute too. So
Really, I
yeah,
got check
shout out
those.
to Jessica Simpson. But I mean, I'm so excited to get a chance to just chat with you and meet you as a fellow Chicago girl.
Yes.
Congratulations on all the success and the new single. Let everybody know again where they can go get your music and where they can follow you.
Thank you so much. You can go check out my music on all platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Music, even Pandora. You can follow me at Wendy Indie Music. That's Wendy like Windy City, and Indie because I'm an independent artist from Chicago.
There you go, girl. Get to that money and keep running it up with your violin skills. We cannot wait to see more from Wendy Indy in the future. And
Thank
I'm
you.
Kiki. Thank you so much for joining me today, sis.
Thank you. Continue having a great day.
Thank you. It's Black in the Days on my Black Lemonade.